Hey guys, Garner Critic here. Thanks for tuning in the channel. Today I'm talking really fast because today we're talking about The Flash, and he's going to do a top 5 countdown of DC Multiverse, and he's going to have lots of points of articulation. It's going to be 5 figures, and here we go. Let's go. Alright, first up at number 5, we have Injustice 2 Flash. This figure seems very close to the source material, which is the Injustice 2 video game from NetherRealm Studios. So Injustice 2 is definitely a step up from Injustice 1. Injustice 1, a lot more armored look, but Injustice 2, it's a little bit more classic, at least when compared to Injustice 1. But it's still not my favorite design. I don't really like the ear lightning bolts. I don't really like the shape of them. I think it's kind of weird. And I don't like the forehead, how much lightning goes there too. I never really liked that. I like it more clean red. But those are all just personal, design things that I'm not a huge fan of. But the figure itself is pretty awesome. He's got this really nice hex pattern on the arms that looks great. The coloring is really nice. The symbol has this like slight metallic sheen to it. Points of articulation are great. He's a little bit hunched over. His back goes out a little too far. But other than that, he's pretty sweet. The only other thing I'm not super thrilled of is at least on my figure, he looks a little bit cross-eyed. They could have painted the eyes just a little bit better. But it's very minor, and you really only notice it when you're zoomed way in. Other than that, he is pretty great and definitely deserves the top 5 spot. For our accessories, he comes with some lightning effects that go on his arms. Most of these come with running lightning effects, and his are more like fighting lightning effects. So he has like a lightning ball that he can throw from the one arm. It's pretty sweet. It's a little different from the other figures. Yeah, so all of those things kind of put together gives him number 5 on the spot. Coming in at number 4, we have Rebirth Flash. If I remember correctly, this is either the first or second Flash they released. I can't remember if the Superman Adventures one was first or if it was this one. I believe it was this one. But either way, this was our first comic book Flash. He has kind of like a exaggerated style to him. So if you're putting him with the other figures, he kind of stands out a little bit weird. But on his own, he's just really awesome. He's a little too tall, again, if you're comparing him to some of the other figures. And I don't like that the symbol just looks kind of like flat plastic. It looks bad. And I also think the lightning bolts in his ears are way too long on this figure. But if it was like a standalone piece, just sitting up on the shelf, looking cool, then he does look pretty sweet. And he has lightning effects that kind of post into holes in the suit, which again is not my favorite way to do it. But overall, I don't know. There's something really cool and special about him. Again, this is early Mcfarlane where they're really testing stuff out. And there's a lot of hit and miss with those early figures. But I don't know. There's something really to like about it. He has just little minor texturing details, just to kind of up the production costs, we'll say, for the figure. Yeah, it's not my favorite figure, but there's enough there to really like to get him in the top 5. All right, coming in at number 3, we have Jay Garrick. I love Jay Garrick. I think he's awesome. I love the classic look to him. If I had a complaint, it's that I prefer the Mcfarlane store exclusive coloring. That one looks perfect. That one, I love that figure. Unfortunately, I didn't get that figure, but I do love it, and maybe eventually I'll pick it up. As for this one, yes, it's very retro in design, but there is a couple little modern touches that Mcfarlane put in there. The shirt kind of coming down, almost like forming into gloves. You can see he does have the collar on the neck. I wish that was a little more present and obvious. But other than that, yeah, he's a really solid figure. He looks great in hand. He's fun to pose. He comes with some lightning effects as well. Yeah, I mean, he's just solid. He's a very solid figure. It's a fun character to have. I hope eventually we get the Jay Garrick that was played by John Wesley Shipp. I also really want the 90s John Wesley Shipp Flash figure too. That'd be great. But even him as Jay Garrick would be awesome too, because that was great and a great costume. So there you have it. We have Jay Garrick speeding into the 3rd slot. All right, that brings us to number 2, Flashpoint 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 Flash figure. This was a Target exclusive figure. This is the quintessential comic book Flash figure. If you could only buy one Flash, I would suggest this Flash. He is iconic. He looks great. He comes with an alternate head. Fantastic. Just a fantastic figure. The only downsides I really have to this figure are he is lacking pretty much all textures. I would have loved if they had done a raised symbol for the chest and for the lightning bolts on his wrists. Maybe just like a very subtle texturing on the red. But barring that, he's still fantastic. I love the head sculpt. This body has shown up a few different times, but it's a decent body buck, and it looks really good for the Flash. I just love this figure. He poses well. Like I said, if you can only get one, get this one. He does come with the legs for the Cyborg Build-A-Figure. Really tall. Really tall legs. It's worth it just to get this figure and the alternate head. All right, and now, who could beat that figure? Who could be number one? Well, that would be Justice League movie Flash. Yeah, okay, first let me just stop and say Ezra Miller was not my favorite version of the Flash. I think he was miscast. I don't really like what he did as the Flash. But with that being said, the figure is fantastic. The points of articulation are great. I actually do really like this costume. I can understand if you don't like the style, I completely understand it. I actually really like it. I think, especially from the three movie suits we've seen, this is by far the best. I think it just looks really nice. I mean, all the pieces that you really need for a Flash suit are here. As for the figure itself, he poses well. The paint job's great. I think the mold really, he looks the most like Ezra Miller of the three Ezra Miller heads we have. This one definitely looks the most accurate. I feel like this is the one they cared the most to do. Texturing is really nice. He comes with some nice effects. I like the little scratch detail on the helmet. They did a really nice job with this figure. The only downsides I really have is that on mine, the diaper piece just feels like it's slightly too big, and that might just be that they made it a little larger so that way it doesn't interfere with his running poses. But mine, it just feels a little loose. It feels like it could be tightened up a little bit. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty great. As for the costume details, one thing I will say, it's insane to me that a guy who works he's like a CSI, that he would design a costume that has fingerless gloves is just completely absurd. But other than that, the costume design is pretty awesome. You can do a pretty good job recreating scenes from the movie. Of the Justice League figures that they released, those 4 figures that came out, Flash is the best one. They just did such a good job with this figure. So there you have it, guys. That's my top 5 list. Why don't you tell me yours in the comment section? Tell me what I got wrong. Tell me what I got right. Thanks for tuning in. We've gotten a lot more subscribers lately, so thank you so much for that. If you guys want me to do any other types of videos, like actually just reviewing a singular figure, I haven't really done that yet. It hasn't really been... I like the countdowns and stuff, but if there's specific figures that you guys want me to review, let me know. Anyway, I think that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay grounded.